So I'm gonna watch the Amazon Prime series Modern Love and make reviews for every episode. Why? I don't know. I've got a lot more free time on my hands due to the fact that I've been cooped up at home, like I imagine many of you are as well, and I figured I'd try a new format for reviewing this show. Alright, so Modern Love is an anthology series that you can watch over on Amazon Prime. It came out a little while ago. I mean, it's not new. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's so random, but fuck it. It's got 8 episodes or stories and features an ensemble cast, including some pretty big name actors like Dev Patel, Tina Fey, Anne Hathaway, John Slattery, Ed Sheeran, what the fuck? Each episode is, quote, inspired by personal essays from the New York Times column of the same name, Modern Love. However, certain elements have been fictionalized. John Carney is credited with writing and directing the series, but in actuality, he only wrote 4 episodes, co-wrote for another, and the 3 other episodes feature different writers. As for the directing, Carney also does 4 episodes, with the other 4 episodes featuring other directors, all of whom I will cover when we get to their specific episode. So, what am I expecting from this show? Anywhere from decent to great acting. I think there'll be a great acting performance in there. Mediocre to great writing, and I'll predict 1 out of the 8 episodes actually makes an impact on me. And I'll say 2 out of 8 gets me in my feels. Also, I'm a little worried about possible levels of cringe and or cliche-ness originating from either the source material or the show's adaptation of those stories. Still, I'm hoping that this will be a fun series. From what I know about its overall premise and format, I'd venture that the aim here is to provide a kind of snapshot of modern love from real people, real writers with their own stories, and then take that snapshot and put it onto the easel of filmmaking, and give a portrait of what love is like today in these modern times. Alright, there's my expectations and predictions, so without further ado, let's jump right into episode 1. Alright, so I just finished the first episode titled When the Doorman is Your Main Man, which I assume is the title of the essay. Not a big fan of the title, but oh well. So the episode is about this young woman named Maggie who has recently moved to New York City and reads books and wears glasses and is kind of a mess, but that's what makes her so endearing. Not exactly breaking the mold with this kind of character, but once again, oh well. I will say that despite her character type being rather derivative, I guess it's a real person or based on a real person. I don't know. I haven't done enough research and I'm not going to, so whatever. But the actress Kristen Milioti, she does a really good job in bringing Maggie to life. She isn't too annoying or over the top, and yeah, no hate at all on her as an actor. She does well with what she has to work with. So, Maggie is going through life. She's dating all kinds of mediocre but altogether harmless white dudes and can't seem to find the right one. Fortunately for her, she has a human barometer for her dating life in the form of her doorman, Goose Mean. He's Albanian and he grew up in a labor camp. He's had a tough life, that's the point. So every time she brings a guy home, Goose Mean conducts his test and judges if the guy is right for her. Big surprise, none of them are. So he appears to be this human, excuse my language, cockblock in the beginning of the episode, and to me he just seemed overprotective and even kind of creepy. But any notion of this creepiness is not in any way supported by Maggie, who seems to adore good old Goose Mean, who functions as sort of a father figure to her, kind of. So time moves on, she dates different dudes. I found the passage of time interesting actually, because in quite a few cases early on, time skips are pretty subtle, and I found myself thinking, oh shit, okay, we're here now. In fact, it's not until the end of the episode that there's an explicit marker or visual signaling of time passing, which is the 5 years later that appears as a title. But okay, yeah, so she gets pregnant, and I'm still not really liking Goose Mean that much. I mean, I get it, but I don't know, some of the stuff he says, he's like, tomorrow is a brand new day that's never been touched. Okay, sure. So let's just wrap up the plot and then I'll get into some of the thematic shit. So Maggie decides to have the baby because it's just more symbolic and metaphorical that way. The baby daddy is this British guy she dated. He's not in the picture. She has the kid, gets a job offer in LA. She's a writer, by the way, huge surprise. And she goes there to LA. 5 years pass, then she comes back to visit Guzmin at her old building with her kid and her new boyfriend. Maybe it's her husband, I don't know, her new man. And the guy meets Guzmin and he's like, I hear I have to pass some kind of test. And Guzmin has his big mic drop moment, which is essentially the punchline of the whole episode, where he was like, you have already passed. And then Maggie and the guy are like, what? What do you mean? How? And Guzmin goes,
I was never looking at the man, Maggie. I was looking at your eyes.
So everyone's all happy and shit, and they ditch the new guy for some reason, and the three of them, Guzmin, Maggie, and her daughter, go to the American Museum of Natural History. Yay! The end. Okay. Now let's get to those juicy themes and my usual half-baked analysis. So let's first address Guzmin's mic drop punchline. So the message there seems to be something like, when searching for love, it's not about finding the perfect person, but the perfect person for you. It doesn't end up meaning much if you can't grow and develop your relationship with them beyond the initial spark, I guess? Sounds good enough to me. So then Guzmin isn't just a human cockblock, but he's more of a representation of Maggie's inner gut feeling or instinct. Something I think we all have. It's that little voice inside our head that lets us know when something feels right or wrong, and is also a voice that we sometimes choose to ignore. I don't know, maybe not, that's just my kind of guess. He's a doorman, right? So that kind of fits with this symbolic job or position of being the doorman to one's heart, who or what comes in and goes out. Evidence of this symbolic or metaphorical layer to Guzmin's character is found in the scene where Maggie gives birth, as he appears in the room and watches over her, even though a moment later it is revealed he's not actually there. So this is kind of weak, but let me know what you guys think. I was kind of picking up on a maybe allegorical subplot going on with this story. Essentially, it's sort of telling the story of the United States itself, or maybe like the future of the United States or something. Okay, so just hear me out. This is what I got. Maggie comes to New York, gets pregnant by a British guy who then leaves and lets her raise the kid on her own. Kind of like the American colonists and the British Empire. And then where does she go at the end? To LA, or maybe the westward expansion of the United States. Also, Guzmin takes Maggie's daughter to where? The American Museum of Natural History. All three of them go there in the end as well. I know, it's pretty weak, but there's something there, right? I just don't know if I quite got it right. Alright, so one last thing I noticed that I'm going to mentally jot down is the potentially ongoing motif of New York City being a character in and of itself. Guzmin references this idea twice in the episode, where he says that a village can raise a child, and New York is a grand village or something like that. And then again, when Maggie returns after giving birth from the hospital, he tells New York to hush or shush or something, as if it's a person that he doesn't want waking up the baby. Again, I've only seen this one episode as of the time I'm making this review, so maybe it won't show up after this, but I'll keep an eye on it as I continue on. Also, as I'm recording this and thinking about what I've written down, there's definitely a possibility that my allegorical reading about the story of American history in this episode, the points that I brought up as evidence for that, might actually be references less so to maybe American history in general and more of a representation of the diversity in New York City specifically, because there's all these different people from all these different backgrounds, all these different nationalities, and they all serve to raise this child together. So it's still sort of maybe about America, in that America is this melting pot of all these different cultures. Okay, I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. Alright, so that's 1 episode down, 7 to go. Looking back, I thought it was okay. I wasn't blown away, but it was fine for what it was. And yeah, if you're enjoying this format and this series of reviews, let me know by liking the video and or leaving a comment. Also, of course, subscribe if you're enjoying the content in general. Check out my other videos if you're looking for shows to watch. This is TwoTenEast, and I'll see you guys at my episode 2 review.